What is up, everybody? Welcome into this Tuesday episode of Flippin Bats. We got one up, one down today. We have Immaculate Grid. We have fan questions. The NL wildcard race is so tight right now. A lot of those teams are going to be mentioned today. We're going to talk all about it. So let's get to it.
Ball onto the track, at the wall, it's gone! Home run!
Turns on a ball, deep right field, and gone!
What a game, what a moment. What is up, my friends? It is Tuesday. Alex is still out a little under the weather, unfortunately, but hopefully she will be back soon. But this is 2 episodes in a row now. Solo dolo, all by myself on the show, like the old days when Flippin Bats first started. So we have a lot to talk about today, as we mentioned. But first off, Tuesday, big series starting tonight. We got D-backs and Giants. That's huge for the wild card race because right now the Giants are sitting 2 games back from the D-backs in that race. And due to Cubs struggling and some teams doing well, this race has really tightened up. It seemed like it was a fight for that final 3rd spot in the NL wild card, but the Cubs have struggled and, put themselves right there at now. The 2 and 3 are up for grabs as well. The 2 and 3 seed. The Phillies appear to be, it's not a lock. It's not a certainty, but the Phillies appear to be heading for the number 1 wild card seed. So the number 4 seed. And then you got the Cubs Marlins, D-backs, Reds. Everybody's all right there jumbled together. So D-backs, Giants, a big one. And the Giants as well. And the Giants are 2 games back. So it is time. If they want to make the playoffs, it has to start in this series against the D-backs that starts tonight. So I'm excited to watch that. But we're going to start today with some 1 up, 1 down. Team or player on the rise and a team or player that is going in the opposite direction. My 1 up is the Marlins. The Marlins are winners of 3 in a row entering the new week, and they are tied for the final wild card spot again entering this new week. Big movement for them. This season has been a real roller coaster for the Marlins. It started off really well, and then they struggled, and everybody was like, okay, here, now they're not going to make the playoffs. And then they were dealing with injuries and Soler going out of the lineup and Sandy Alcantara, the injury there. But Soler's come back. They're playing really good baseball. They can certainly pitch well enough. And now you look up at the calendar the standings, and they would tell you right now that the Marlins are going to be in the playoffs. So can they continue it? I don't know. We're coming down the home stretch. It's September 19th and only a couple weeks left of the season. But you got the Marlins playing really good baseball. So for me, they're the 1 up because of the big movement they have made over the last week of looking up at a wild card spot. And now due to this past week and a sweep of the Atlanta Braves, by the way. And I know, yes, the Braves had already clinched and then clinched the division. And this was a clear letdown series for the Braves, right? Like they wrapped it up. I'm sure they went out and got after it the night they clinched and had a lot of fun. They had an off day, yes, but then you start the next series and it's a tough series to get up for. But still, the Braves are the Braves. They've been the best team in baseball this year. And the Marlins the Marlins swept them. Huge series for them. And it got them right back to where they needed to be, which is controlling their own destiny in the NL wildcard race. So they're my 1 up. And to the contrary, the 1 down, we're also sticking in the wild card race in the National League. The Cubs. The Cubbies are losers of 4 in a row entering the new week. Now only a half a game in. They were the 2 seed. They were the number 2 wild card. It seemed like the Phillies and the Cubs were a certainty. And then there's like 4 teams that are vying for the final spot. It's either 4 or 5. Let me think through it. D-backs, Giants, Reds, Marlins. So 4. And now there's 5, right? Because the Cubs have played themselves right back into that. And they're only in by a half a game. So the Cubs have lost their last 4 in a row and have seen their lead for a wild card spot drop to just a half of a game. I think I selfishly want the Cubs in the playoffs just because Wrigley in October is just a vibe. And the Cubbies seem to be in a good position to get it done. And now they're really struggling. So what's going to happen there? I don't know. We'll see. But it's now a 5-team race with 2 spots on the line. 5 teams, 2 spots. We'll see what happens there. So the Marlins are my 1 up and the Cubbies are my 1 down. And they got about 2 weeks left to figure this out. And we'll see what happens. All right, it is Tuesday, which means it is time for Immaculate Grid. I'm going to head up to the stage. We do not have Alex here today, so I'm coming up here. Doesn't need a full explanation anymore. Immaculate Grid, 9 squares. How many can I get? I've gone Immaculate 2 times? 3 times. I think I just went Immaculate for a 3rd time. But the record is pretty, 42 seconds. 9 and 42 seconds is the record. But I am up here now. We are going to get 90 seconds on the clock to see how many I can get. There will be a team or an accolade. We see it here now. You got Yankees, Guardians, Silver Slugger on the top. Marlins, Angels, and A's are on the side. Okay. All right. 90 seconds on the clock. Here we go. Yankees, Marlins. Yankees, Marlins. Yankees, Marlins. Why? AJ Burnett. Why is that the name that came to mind? I don't know. Marlins, Guardians. Andrew Miller. Marlins, Silver Slugger. Gary Sheffield. Angels, Yankees. Tyler Wade. Angels, Guardians. Lucas Giolito. Angels legend. Guardians legend. Lucas Giolito. Angels, Silver Slugger. Shohei Ohtani. A's, Yankees. Jose Canseco. A's, Guardians. A's, Silver Slugger. I'll go with Ricky Henderson. A's, Guardians. 15 seconds. A's, Guardians. I don't know. Dang it. I'm not going to get it. All right. 8. That's time. 8. A's, Guardians. I was flying too. I feel pretty good about this, but alas, we end up with 8 of 9. Couldn't get A's, Guardians at the end there, but Immaculate Grid. That's fun. Always fun. We're going to finish up with some fan questions here today. Always feel free. Anything you ever want to know or anything you ever want to ask, baseball related, not baseball related, get your questions in on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. And we'll hopefully get it on the show. First one we got is, in your opinion, who grabs the last 2 wild card spots in the NL? Okay. I'm gonna believe in the Cubs. And then I'm gonna continue to say what I've been saying for 2 weeks now, that I think the Reds get in. Their schedule is favorable. I'm gonna go Cubs, Reds. So it's gonna be Phillies, Cubs, Reds is my prediction. I stuck with it. I said it a couple weeks ago that I think they get in. And then they went through a little bit of a down stretch, and now they're, now they're right where they need to be. So favorable schedule, better than all the other teams right around them. I think the Reds are going to be able to get in, and I will stick with the Cubs getting in as well. So thank you for that question. Let's see what we got next. Next up is from G. Garcia. Who will be the X factor for the Astros? I'm assuming this is like for the playoffs. Who is the Astros X factor for the playoffs? Like last year, the X factor was Jeremy Pena, right? ALCS, World Series MVP. I'm going to say this year the X factor is going to be Yainer Diaz. I think if Yainer had played all season long and gotten a full season of at-bats, I think we could be talking about a rookie of the year sort of season. But he didn't get that. He didn't really start playing as often as he should be until later in the year. But I think he's gonna announce his presence to the world in the postseason. He's been a stud all year long. I think Yainer Diaz is gonna be the X factor for the Astros. So thank you for that question. Let's see. We have one more. This one is from Jay Hernandez. Ben, how would you feel about an MLB All-Stars versus NPB All-Star game? I think it would be so cool to see MLB's best versus Japan's best. I would even say make a best of 3. Okay. My brain immediately goes into logistics here. Like, is it possible? So let's throw that. I mean, if you throw that out, obviously, it would be incredible. The talent in the NPB is top tier. The pitching is phenomenal. The game is certainly different. Pitchers throw different. Hitters are different in a lot of aspects. But the NPB is a fantastic baseball league. And if anybody has never seen a live baseball game in Japan in the NPB, you have to go do it. It should be at the top of your list to want to do. I would love to see this. In my mind, we get more moments of like Shohei versus Trout in the World Baseball Classic, right? Now, a 3-game series would never work out. There is a chance, though. Again, back to the logistics. If you were to do like the All-Star game, we could just make it that, and you have the All-Stars, and then they face off against those players, and then, but it's only one game, and the All-Star games have to line up perfectly. It's a nightmare logistically, but I would love to see it. Is the answer to the question. That would be really, really cool. And I think that's it for our questions, and that is also it for this Tuesday show. It's a quick one because we got 2. Well, it's a quick one for mini. Alex is out today. And we have another episode coming out a little bit later today. Or if you're listening later in the day, it is probably already out. It is This Week in Shohei Ohtani News. And if you haven't heard, you've probably been living under a rock, but it is a big one because there was a lot of news with Shohei over the past week and a lot of news about his future as well. And what he's planning to do now that he is done for the season. So we're going to talk all about that in that other episode today, so be on the lookout for that as well. But for this first Tuesday episode, that does it, my friends. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever. We're also on all social media, including YouTube, where you can watch every single thing we do at Flippin Bats Pod for all of it. But that does it for this first episode. Until next time, my friends, peace.